students, I am Kripa Joshi. I welcome you in Tagore Sci tutorial. We are discussing physical chemistry and our topic of discussion is quantum. So in this we are discussing first part, that is spectroscopy, and today we are discussing about infrared spectroscopy. So this infrared spectroscopy is important topic for BSc third year and BSc B.Ed third year also. Infrared spectroscopy, as the name indicate, we use infrared radiations. So infrared radiations are electromagnetic radiation having the wavelength 0.8 micron to 200 micron are known as infrared region of radiation. So this range of radiation we can subdivide. Earlier we see in electromagnetic spectrum, in EM spectra. After the UV radiations, ultraviolet radiation, we come to infrared radiation. So they have less energy than ultraviolet radiation but having more energy than microwave radiation. So we use infrared radiation in spectroscopy, especially absorption spectroscopy, for the study of chemical compounds and their nature. So we subdivide this range into further three categories. First is near infrared. Near infrared region exists between 0.8 to 2.5 micron wavelength. These radiation are called near infrared. If the wavelength is 2.5 to 15 micron, it comes under ordinary or normal infrared radiation. 15 to 200 micron wavelength of infrared comes in far infrared region. So they have much high value of wavelength, so less value of energy. So we use them for very less purposes. And for the study we mainly use near infrared, and sometimes we use ordinary infrared also. So we discuss them one by one. So in infrared spectroscopy, our uses we can see like this. First is source of light. For this infrared spectroscopy we need a source of light that will give us infrared radiation. So we use Nernst Glover. Nernst Glover produce infrared region of near infrared. So energy will be more and wavelength will be less. Well known Valais lamp. This is second source of energy, and high pressure mercury arc. These three are basic source to produce infrared radiation. But in Nernst Glover we have rod 30 mm long rod, very fine rod, and its tunnel are made up of silver metal. This rod has the outer coating of rare metal oxide like zirconium oxide, and we close this in a glass tube. When we pass electricity through it, this will glow and give us the light of infrared region. So with the help of these three sources, we produce infrared radiation and use them for our study. Second, monochromatic light. From this region, light produced will scattered in different lines. So for a beam, a particular thin beam of light, we use monochromator. It is a moving crystal. Monochromator is a moving crystal of halogen salt and potassium bromide. Mainly two type of monochromator we use. It is a moving crystal to convert produced light into a monochromatic radiation. Third one is solvent. The material whose study to be done may be in physical condition like solid, liquid and gas, but we have to make solution for infrared radiations study. So we dissolve them in a particular solvent. As a solvent we cannot use water because water itself absorbs infrared radiation and give us wrong result. That's why we use carbon disulfide, chloroform, carbon tetrachloride, CCl4 and benzene. These are organic solvent we use as a solvent in infrared spectroscopy. Next one is a detector. I show you all the arrangement of infrared spectroscopy. First we have this source of light. It will give us infrared radiation, and here we use monochromator for a beam of light, and after this is a sample cell. In this we dissolve our substance in particular solvent and fill here. The light is passed through the sample and sample will absorb the light. After this, the rest of light comes outside and it can be detected by a detector. So two type of detector we use. First is thermopile. It will capture any changes in the temperature, and bolometer. These two are detector. If any changes in light, then it will be detected by photo detector, and any changes in temperature will be measured by thermopile or thermodetector. So this is the arrangement for the infrared radiation. So discuss in which condition we can use infrared radiation, or which chemical give us the result for the infrared spectroscopy. Every compound cannot be used for infrared. It has some specific condition. The compound which fulfill this condition can be used for the infrared spectroscopy. So these are conditions for infrared spectroscopy. First condition, a molecule can absorb radiation. Only the frequency of vibration of molecule is same as that of incident radiation. This is our sample. We use infrared. Our sample acts as a simple harmonic oscillator. When photon of light comes to it, it starts vibrating. So its vibrational frequency and frequency of incident light is equal, then we can use infrared spectroscopy. Second, so this is incident radiations vibration, and this is harmonic oscillators frequency vibration. If both frequencies same, then we can use IR. Second, dipole moment. A molecule can absorb IR when there is a net change in its electric permanent dipole. The molecule which having one atom is more electropositive and another is electronegative. So there is a difference between electronegativity of two atoms of a molecule. So there is a appearance of dipole. Those molecules having net dipole moment, we can use IR for them. The change occurs only when molecule has certain dipole moment. Because this dipole moment, like this, these two poles, because having different electronegativity, behave as a dipole. If molecule having permanent dipole moment, then it will absorb infrared and give us the value. So the molecule hydrogen H2, nitrogen N2 and oxygen O, they do not give IR spectra because they don't have permanent dipole moment. But HCl and water, they have permanent dipole moment, so they can give us the infrared spectroscopy. So for the infrared spectroscopy, we have two important terms. First is frequency of vibration must be equal to frequency of incident ray, and second one, the molecule whose to be used for the infrared spectroscopy must have permanent dipole moment. So these are the condition of infrared spectroscopy. Now we see the uses, where we should use it. One by one we discuss these uses. So first is determination of force constant of a bond. In an infrared spectroscopy, our sample is a molecule having also atom bonded with each other. So how much they can be strongly bonded. So for this bond we have to determine force constant K. That can be calculated from infrared spectroscopy. Our molecule, like AB is a molecule whose A and B, two poles, are start vibrating when we give infrared radiation. So this time this mu bar is the wave number. So we can use this formula 1 upon 2 pi c root k upon mu. Mu is our reduced mass. When these two atoms, one having mass m1 and another having mass m2, separated by r distance, they move at different corner, behaving as an oscillator, having this reduction in mass. We can replace this by mu. And k is the force constant, and c is velocity of light that we use for the spectroscopy. So by this equation we can determine value of K, force constant. So this is the first and important application of IR. In this table we see this value of force constant for different molecules. IR can be used for force constant of a diatomic molecule. The molecule having only two atoms we can use, or vibration of a molecule can be treated as simple harmonic oscillator. So see, this is our molecule HI. One is hydrogen and second is halogen. One time iodine, bromine, chlorine, fluorine. So in HX bond there is a difference in electron activity. So dipole having permanent dipole moment. This time we have force constant value 3.2 for hydrogen iodide. Value of K is 3.2. It means our bond is value is less, then bond energy is also less, 71. Strength of bond, how much bond is, strength of bond is directly proportional to value of force constant. If value of force constant is high, then it must be low, and if its value is less, it must be high. So both things are related to each other. For HBr, value of force constant is 4.1. So having bond energy is less than 87. It is 87. For the HCl, its value is 4.8, higher than HBr. So it having much higher energy, 102D, 102.0. HF, it is strongest bond. It is very strong because electronegativity of fluorine is highest among halogen and highest in periodic table. So this bond is very strong. It having force constant 9.7. So bond energy is, especially bond dissociation energy is 135.0. If bond between carbon and oxygen, here is double bond. So force constant is 12.3 and energy is 744. In carbon and hydrogen bond, force constant is 5 and value is 409.7. So from this force constant, we can determine how strong the bond present in our sample. So this is an important application of IR. We are discussing second application also, it must having some qualitative as well as quantitative aspects. So discuss this. This is determination of a compound. We can identify the sample and which chemical is present in it. Fingerprint technique can also determine the structure of a compound. For example, this is our sample. When we treat with it infrared radiation, it will absorb infrared radiation according to its energy. The remaining energy emitted from the sample can be examined and we see the value of its wavelength, its frequency, the peak at maximum wavelength and frequency is shown by already existing sample, so we can match this, must be that. Already, for example, we have benzene, its peaks are like this, and unknown sample also have similar peaks, so we can conclude unknown sample must have structure similar to benzene. This technique is known as fingerprint technique. So this can be used for the determination of structure. Let's come to the third application, that is elucidation of structure of a compound. First, we can tell about the force constant, second about the identification, and third one is coming to structure. IR spectroscopy used to determine structure of a compound, because in a compound different functional group and different bonds. So different functional group absorb different energy, and for example single sigma bond and pi bond, they also absorb different amount of energy. On behalf of this absorption of energy, we can conclude our sample having which type of functional group and atoms and molecules and group of atom existing in it. So we can elucidate its structure also. These are the basic uses of IR, but some other information we can also conclude from them, like the purity of sample, how much our sample is pure. Pure benzene having a fixed value of its absorption, but if there is any impurity exists in the sample of benzene, then its peak must be different. So purity of sample can be identified. We can also calculate the molecular weight also. These are the applications, but after all we have some drawback and limitation also. Drawback and limitations of IR. Limitations. First one is the compound which do not have permanent dipole moment cannot be used for the spectroscopy. The molecule which do not have permanent dipole moment cannot be used for IR. So for their study we use some other technique like Raman spectroscopy and UV spectroscopy, but IR cannot give us result for that. Second, some material are soluble only in water, so we can't use IR for them because water itself absorbs infrared radiations. So it is also a main drawback. Water cannot be used as a solvent. Water itself absorbs infrared. For this we use organic solvent like CCl4, benzene and carbon disulfide. So these are main drawback. In further classes we will discuss Raman spectroscopy, and thank you.